At first, everything seemed completely normal. We were looking at record profits, massive fleet expansions, gleaming new jets rolling right off the assembly line. But then, something felt unusual. A quiet crisis started appearing on the tarmac, brand new aircraft literally just sitting there, totally idle. And it wasn't because of a mechanical failure, it wasn't the weather. It was because of a missing element that absolutely no one saw coming. Wait, this changes everything.
Welcome back to Air Flight Space, where we explore aviation events, air safety investigations, industry developments, and the stories shaping our skies. Today, we're taking a closer look at a story attracting major attention in aviation. It's a massive paradigm shift that's forcing airlines to completely abandon how they hire before the entire system collapses. To actually figure out what's going on here, we're going to look at the reactive recruitment era, the intense pressures on the system, how recruitment and training are integrating, the new data-driven approach, and finally, what future aviation talent pipelines look like.
Part 1. The reactive recruitment era.
So, for decades, the aviation recruitment model seemed totally fine, right? Historically, airlines relied on a purely reactive model. It was all driven by immediate operational demand, just scrambling to fill vacancies the exact second they appeared. It was basically a short-term band-aid. But investigators looking into the current shortage found that this historical era was literally a ticking time bomb. Today, survival requires a completely new model, one focused on long-term workforce resilience and sustainable pipelines. They need access to talent 10 years before a pilot even steps into the cockpit. But this was only the beginning.
Part 2. Pressures on the system. Why did this old model suddenly just shatter?
Well, aviation experts were already noticing the first warning signs. Jonathan Price, the COO at Resource Group, pointed out the conversation has changed significantly over the last few years. Airlines are still under pressure to recruit, but many are now recognizing that recruitment cannot operate independently from wider talent strategy. Now, a lot of people initially blamed the chaotic post-pandemic surge, but what happened next shocked investigators because the underlying pressures had actually been silently building for years. It turned out to be a perfect storm of 5 escalating factors. You've got persistent pilot shortages as highly experienced captains hit that mandatory retirement age. Then, there's vicious competition for technical talent. Regional operators are basically fighting a losing battle as their engineers flee to the major carriers. Add in massive fleet expansion plans that require thousands of new crew members and an entirely new generation of workers demanding roster stability and career progression, not just a paycheck. And this detail changes everything.
Part 3. Integrating recruitment and training. This is where the domino effect truly began to paralyze operations. In the past, siloed operations meant HR hired candidates and training just blindly accepted them. But airlines suddenly woke up to a terrifying new interconnected reality. Think about it. You can aggressively hire 100 new pilots, sure, but if you only have simulator availability and instructor capacity for 20, your recruitment is completely paralyzed. The physical training bottleneck literally dictates your hiring limits, but the situation was far from over. To survive this, airlines realized they had to demand way more than just recruitment agencies. They needed strategic workforce partners. So they developed a strict 3-step survival protocol. Step 1, meticulous recruitment forecasting, planned years in advance. Step 2, rigorous assessment and compliance, just to make sure candidates don't wash out of the pipeline later on. And Step 3, scalable resourcing support to physically shape the organization's culture from the ground up, creating predictable cadet pathways.
Part 4. The data-driven approach.
Because, look, if you're planning a decade out, you absolutely cannot rely on gut feelings. Robin Hepworth, Director of Flight Crew Services at Resource Group, captures this pivot perfectly. He says more organizations are moving toward predictive workforce planning rather than simply reacting to operational shortages. By utilizing advanced forecasting technology, airlines are now detecting sudden drops in available captains long before a flight is ever delayed. They're basically seeing the iceberg miles before it hits the ship.
Keep watching because this final detail really explains everything. How do you actually find this perfect candidate? Well, the modern profile has completely shifted. Traditional metrics like flight hours and type ratings, they used to be the only things that mattered. But now, operators are enforcing rigorous competency-based assessments. They're actively measuring adaptability, communication, leadership potential, and cultural fit. They don't just want someone to fly the plane anymore. They need someone to lead a crew through a rapidly changing industry.
Part 5. Future aviation talent pipelines.
So, who will actually win the battle for the skies? The ultimate finding of this investigation is incredibly clear. Resource Group states, recruitment is no longer viewed purely as a transactional function. Instead, it is becoming a strategic component of operational planning. Basically, treating hiring like a simple transaction just to fill an empty seat, that's a dead model. The only path forward to sustainable global growth is a deep structural investment in people, technical apprenticeships, and early career programs.
The fastest recruiters won't win. The earliest planners will. So what can we actually learn from this story? It's that an airline's greatest asset isn't the aircraft sitting on the tarmac. It's the pipeline of talent required to keep them in the air. Thanks for watching Air Flight Space. If you found this video informative, leave a like. Subscribe for more aviation investigations and stories. Share your thoughts below. I regularly read and interact with the community. See you in the next video.